Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi guys, here we are again.
So tonight we are going to review a supernatural horror movie that came out not too long ago, which is released in 2021, I think, called The Deep House.
Now, I've got a funny feeling that this might have flown under the radar for some people. Because I got a funny feeling it didn't get a good run at the theatre.
Yeah, I only heard about it just only recently on social media.
Yeah,
that's.
No, I never knew. We didn't know about
it.
it, so it may or may not have played in Australia if it did had a limited run. So it may have had a limited run and went straight to streaming or DVD or something or other. So yeah. Don't know. Anyway, here we go. Do you want to say something about it?
Yes, I will, Mike.
Yeah.
Here. So my thoughts. It's different, and I think I like the fact in this one, it takes place in France, and it takes place in a haunted house underwater.
Exactly,
and
something different.
What better way to do two things, take two types of things and smash them together.
But have a think
haunted
about
house and being underwater, which is even more scary because it's like the expression when people say something about,
if you scream in space, no one can hear you. Well, you scream underwater, no one can hear you either.
Yeah, it's just like that old quote, being on a boat and is like being in jail for the fear of drowning.
Some idea, whatever.
I know that's not the same thing, but this is how I feel about it because
they were trapped inside
a house.
Well, why don't we tell a story about that?
Yeah.
In a minute. Anyway, okay, I'll go through the usual crap. So all the good bits. Produced by Jean-Charles Levy and Clement Misre, Miserez. Okay.
Are they French
directors? Yeah, French. It's English. It's an English language French supernatural horror. So that's why you got French names. Okay. Now directed by Alexander Bostillo and Julianne Maury.
Two directors.
M-A-U-R-Y. Oh yeah. They might have had one on land and one under the water.
Oh, that's a good point.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I wonder, how would you say action and cut underwater?
They had little microphones inside their helmets too, you know.
Oh, yeah, they did. But you got to admit that...
Can I finish my bits?
Go on.
Okay. Written by Alexander Bostillo, Julianne Maury, Julian David, and Rachel Parker. Now, not too many stars in this, but the two main people are James Jagger and Camille Rowe. That's about as far as I'm going to go with that. I can't think of anything else I can tell you. Now, I do not know how much it took to make it, but it only boxed off at a 1.9. Now, I've got a gut feeling the reason being is that it may have had limited run and went straight to possibly DVD or streaming, because you look at it, it came out, where is it? Again, 2021. So when did COVID finish?
COVID finished exactly around then.
Yeah, so
but I imagine they were probably...
may not have been still going back to the cinemas as much, so they might have said, oh, it's not doing too much at the moment, so let's just stream it or home releases or something or other. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
So it has nothing to do with it being a flop or anything like that?
I just don't think they've only got box office figures, so and I think box office is not always the full story, especially when you come out of something like COVID and people were still loath to go to the cinema. And some people still don't go to the cinema, and it's been gone by 2 or 3 years. Mainly, the main part.
I just haven't found anything that's worth watching sometimes.
Well,
I mean, most of the time, some of the good stuff doesn't come out our way. For gosh,
I was going to go see Barbie, and you didn't want to go.
I don't want to go see Barbie.
Oh, okay, fine.
Well, I was joking, it's something to do with the fact that I don't like the actresses or the actors.
Now, Margot Robbie's
it's just
good.
the theme behind it, the Barbie, because I'm not interested in Barbies. Not since I was a little kid. I didn't even really like them even back then.
I used to play Barbies with your sister.
Yes, well...
I used to be Ken.
She hogged Barbies. That's what her problem was. Every time she got a new Barbie, she would often tell me not to play with it.
Yes, and meanwhile, she'll strip me naked and heads are falling off and arms are falling off and, you know, all the good things all girls do with their Barbies.
I just didn't see the appeal there. It's just a plastic doll and it won't do anything.
It's the imagination part. Anyway,
I
have little else to say, so... do I get into telling the tale?
Got it.
Okay.
So the story begins with a couple. They're a couple, so you guys know. And
a male and a female.
And they're vloggers who like going over to haunted houses and filming to their heart's content. And of course they're in France at this moment because the last house, I think it was in Ukraine, before the whole incident probably took place, whatever.
Look.
I'm just saying, I'm not bringing...
It's okay.
Don't go over your head, okay? Like you always do.
No, you throw useless crap in there.
Well,
okay?
I'm just saying, it took place in Ukraine. There's the end of that. Anyway.
You in the Ukraine in a minute.
Anyway, now they're in France, and they are trying to locate a house that's in a deserted area of France, obviously, because the places are going to be most of those places are up for sale and stuff like that.
I think they've heard about this place. They're trying to find it, but it's a secret location that no one's supposed to know about.
Yeah. Anyway, so they eventually go to a beach, which is very crowded, and they think it's probably likely the place where the house is going to be there.
Oh, here it is. No, they went to France to seek out the sanatorium that was submerged in an artificial lake, only to find it was a crowded vacation spot, and they'd found out the place had been destroyed when they actually backfilled the area and made a big dam or reservoir.
Yes. So anyway, our man, what's his name? Let's see.
Who?
Ben, obviously.
Ben, yeah.
He comes across a man named Pierre who tells him that where to find this haunted house.
Place. He knows this place. It's a haunted house, and it's underwater, and it hasn't been destroyed. It's intact.
Yeah, it's intact, according to him.
Yeah.
How he knows this, we'll never know.
We don't know how he knows, but he knows.
Because if he has known, he must have gone down there once or twice to see if it's in.
Yes, he knows too much about it.
Anyway,
wink, wink.
They drive him. They take their van, so you guys know. They have this very big van that's
Scooby van.
Yeah, you can call it that. Considering it's very period, but I don't know how. They might probably just hide it. Who knows? Anyway, they drive out there. They drive to a deserted lake area, very quiet, very secluded, very hush hush. And they start loading their gear up. They have these GoPro cameras. I mean, that's the term they're using.
Yeah, the sports camera you strap onto your helmets and stuff.
You can attach to your hand or to a helmet or
your dinosaur
or wherever. Anyway, so they start getting their gear on. The wearing lots and lots of scuba gear. And they also have a special drone-type camera that's going to swim with them down to the water.
They're going to check things out before they actually swim into a room and go into tight places and all the good groovy stuff.
Yeah, this makes me think of the Ghosts of the Abyss, that documentary that James Cameron did not too long, many years ago.
Didn't see James Cameron in this one.
Nope.
Well, there you go then.
Anyway, they all dive under the water and the guy tells them to follow the steps, sort of a steps.
Yeah, when you get down so many metres, you'll see some steps following down. Because obviously, it was in a house in a valley. There might have been some steps going up the hill. So, so he knew about these steps.
Yeah.
Wonder. He didn't look like he's a scuba diving type.
No. Anyway, as they swim, we get a few jump scares by fish, or who knows, and stuff. And we do come to the house. Of course, the doors are blocked by, from either seaweed or not seaweed. I mean, whatever grows under the water. Obviously, I'm not a fish hogologist or anything like that. or whatever.
Paleontologist.
Paleontologist.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Or whatever comes to mind. Anyway, they go under there and they soon find an attic window that is ajar or open. Slightly. And they send in the drone first, obviously.
Have a look around.
Have
make
a
sure
look
it's
around
safe.
and see if it was safe. And then they slowly swim in, obviously. And it's pretty, most of the stuff is on the, some of the items is either floating, others are just naturally sitting there. I like to think the filmmakers may have attached some heavy weights to the objects to make sure they don't float to the ceiling. That's my theory.
They probably screwed them to the floor, Sarah.
There's that too, but I like to think they may have also, seeing as most of it looks like it's still moving slightly, but not moving like.
But some things didn't move. Actually, when they actually started going for the room, it looked like the place was just recently filled up with water.
Yeah,
like someone was still living there.
Yeah. Anyway, they explore the place, and they find objects, they fiddle around with them. They also found a book that looks like you could just turn the pages of it and
it wasn't rotting.
And it's not rotting. They also found a doll that's floating, obviously. It kind of freaks them out.
Now, that's one thing that got me. There's a few things there which should have been floating. All right? Laying around the roof, because like wood or something or other. And some things there which were heavier, which were floating, which should have been on the floor. They did make us a couple little technical boo-boos there.
They also see something behind the sheet or cloth, I'm not sure.
It's a shadow. It looks like someone's
they
standing
thought it
there.
was a shadow, but then there was no one there, obviously. But
maybe there was.
Maybe there was. Maybe there isn't. Anyway, they continue swimming and exploring, and soon they come to the kitchen, and there they find sort of a huge door that's bolted by this very big Jesus crucifix.
A crucifix, it's sealing the door. It's on brackets so you can get it off, but why?
Why? That's a big question.
There was nothing really behind it.
Yeah,
really, maybe.
And they wanted to pry it off, which they do. They do pry it off.
They didn't have to pry it, just lift it off.
They lift it off. Well, there's those nails, the crucifix nails, are nailing the door sides shut.
There's two metal brackets.
Yeah.
The crossbars was in.
Anyway.
They picked it up and laid it on the ground.
Yeah. So they laid it on the ground, and then
they
open the door and enter, and they find two figures in the room wearing weird masks, some ceremony masks they call it. I don't know what they are called. And this is where they discover satanic symbols and
pentagram on the floor, the usual stuff.
And I should mention this couple. This family had a history of stealing kids and killing them.
And they'd passed by, and it's like a pinboard with photographs, newspaper clippings of missing children and stuff, and that sort of stuff again.
They also discover an old projector and old camera footage. I'm not sure how old, but stuff before the age of digital cameras is what
the old stuff, your Super 8 stuff, whatever.
Anyway.
Or before that.
Anyway, they do get spooked by this thing, and our girl, her name is what's her name? Tanya.
Whatever.
Wants to leave, and
I would.
Yeah, they quickly try to go back through where the attic.
Tina, not Tanya.
Tina. Yeah. And they go back to the attic room, but the window they crawled through previously is now bolted up with bricks.
Yeah, funny.
Ha ha.
Straight out of the Twilight Zone, hey folks.
They try the other windows, try breaking them, but
It wouldn't break. A little bit like Rose Red. Remember they're trying to break the windows to get out of there?
Yeah. I also have said this in the past with water with Mike, that no matter how hard you swing an item to break open a window or anything underwater, the water slows down.
It does slow you down a bit. It does slow down a bit
because of the much layers of water that's in front of you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. You have a fist fight underwater. It's very hard. Yeah.
Anyway, our girl freaks out, and of course, her boyfriend tries to calm her down because the more she panics,
the more air
she breathes out.
And they got a little thing on monitoring the amount of air left in the tank.
Yes.
And she's going for hers a lot faster.
Yeah, because the more she panics, the more she loses air. Anyway, they're running out of time they try checking the other rooms out, and of course they try to use the chimney to crawl out of to get away, obviously. But something happens. Like sort of
some of the bricks start to fall on top of them.
Yeah. And they both are separated from in different floors.
Yeah, that I think he ended up in the bedroom upstairs. He came out through that part of the chimney, and she was down the bottom level. So because he was coming up after him.
Yeah.
So
So she was stuck. I think at this point the drone camera is being controlled by the ghosts at this point in my period.
Well, we think, yes.
I think so. Anyway, she then, we do notice this, it suddenly changed its lighting, and there's also a time when they're playing music underwater and the ghosts kind of flicked on the music.
Yeah, funny, eh?
Funny. Anyway, so he's in the little girl's room, or the mother's, the couple's, dead daughter is obviously in the room, and of course we later find out the bodies from in the basement, the basement. Those particular bodies come to life and start attacking them. Obviously, also, before we get to that, so our guy, Ben, obviously, he discovers that their family tree, and we discover Pierre, the guy that guided them to the spot, turns out to be related to the said family that died in this house. Anyway, he then encounters the ghost and gets briefly possessed by, I don't know which spirit, because that's not really important.
Yeah.
Anyway, once Tina approaches him, he guides her back to the room, the basement room, where there's a bit of the projector set up, and he explains how that him and his family have been, this family has been doing this murder thing for many years, satanic rituals and stuff like that. And Pierre was always helping them, obviously, because he's the son.
Like a good son would, yeah.
And then one day, some locals, some lynch mob, decided to come and they
kill him.
They kill his sister, killed both mother and father, and put them in those special masks
and chain them up.
And I don't know how the house. It's not important. How the house got into the water.
No, they backfilled. They made a dam, and the water rose.
Yes, and anyway, they then. Well, I just think it's a bit weird because there's a projector rolling in the scene, and I keep wondering. Okay, there's a projector rolling. Why is there a camera in this scene? Obviously, because it doesn't make sense.
What do you mean now?
Because we saw that they had an old-fashioned camera earlier, but why would why in one of the shots where the lynch mob approaches them, would they be carrying around a camera at the side?
A camera might have been on. It really makes for a good story. Maybe the ghost did it. I've got no idea.
Anyway, Tina tries to snap her boyfriend out of it by stabbing him in the shoulder, but Sarah, the dead sister's ghost, Pierre's sister, she attacks him and stabs him in the back of the neck.
Yeah.
And he dies and he floats away. And now it's up to Tina to get out because she's only got 2 minutes or whatever.
I think it's 2% air
2%
left, which is a lot.
In her container, so she must get out. So she soon finds a room. One of the rooms leads up to a mausoleum.
Mausoleum, the tunnel to it.
Yeah, and she was able to crawl out, and it manages to get the tank off her back. Of course, as she's swimming away, the drone is still recording her escape. It's now being controlled by these ghosts, I think. She swims, and she's just about to get closer to the tippy top of the water, but suddenly she blurts out the last bits of bubbles and she dies. I know that's a bit sad, but that's...
Yeah, she drops off the tanks and she starts swimming to the surface and she starts to run out of energy and air and stuff. And when so many meters from the top, she just passes out, drowns, and then she's floating there and starts sinking back towards the house.
Well, we don't know.
Anyway, she's got weights on. She's not going to fly out, is she?
No, that's true.
Thank you.
Then later on, after the credits, we get a post-credits scene where Pierre is bringing two more people.
Two young girls who were scuba divers.
to the lake and to the unknown fate that waits them, which you can only imagine. Anyway, that's the Deep House. Now it's that time to talk about what we know about this movie.
Okay, production. Don't know a lot about production. However, it says photography took place during January to March in 2020. Okay, and from sometime in June at the studio lights in Vilvoorde, Belgium. Okay, and whatever. Anyway, and also a place called St. Pierre's Lakes during July of the same year, 2020. So they did some local shots at the lake, but I would say that the underwater shots were done in a studio environment, something like a pool, and they built the sets on, they just fill it with water. I think I would say that way it's controllable. So
yeah. I gotta admit that the thing is that when they were underwater, it would have been a very big challenge for them to do the sort of the aging process to the dead bodies, because they're real people, underwater, and they're playing the ghosts, obviously. And I do wonder how they were that particular makeup
when the ghosts don't get dead bodies come out like that, like zombies. Or somewhere between a zombie and a ghost. Yeah,
I just wondered how that particular prosthetic makeup stayed on their face without getting. Maybe they had to retouch it every so often.
Probably.
when we had to do a take or more than one take. I mean, considering that water could affect your makeup and remove it or something, or cause it to.
But having said that, it could be a simple case. There was very little makeup on them. Like you can get waterproof ordinary makeup and put that on for effects. There's no latex, there's no rubber stuff. They just touch up a bit of ordinary makeup, which is waterproof based, and just take a couple of gulps of air and then move across the scene a bit, and then they get a bit more air, out of a container nearby, so they wouldn't actually drown. Yeah. So it looked pretty groovy to me.
Yeah. Apart from being a supernatural horror, guys, I wasn't sure 100% whether most of it was come off as just ordinary cinematography type filmmaking, and the other 1% of it felt like it was a little bit of found footage, just a little bit, not a lot of it, obviously.
Well, it wasn't found footage, but they were showing a lot of POV shots and different things, and that sort of stuff. So
there were moments.
Had a good feel to it.
And there was a few minutes of glitchy footage being a haunted house place.
The EMF was playing up the drone a bit, and their controls on their scuba gear and their communications, and that sort of stuff. EMF does that a lot in these movies.
Yeah, I gotta admit.
But the lights down there worked well, didn't they?
I gotta admit, it is a different approach to different haunting movies I've seen, and I have seen quite a few where I'm not surprised no one outside the house, no matter how many miles away a person's haunted house is, no one has bothered to actually go in and try to help these people from being in a haunted house. In this case, this one adds a little bit more eeriness, because in this case, you're underwater, no one can hear you yell, scream,
no one knows
anything.
you're down there apart from the guy who took you there.
And there's a big chance that if you start screaming, even if you lose your tank, you could easily just die by drowning, obviously.
Die by drowning. I'd go by death by chocolate would be better.
Yeah. Anyway, it is a different approach, and I'm amazed such a film project has never been done before. I mean, it's been years.
Well, no. It comes with a fresh idea. They get an idea.
I know.
Or a house tale. They say, how can we make it different?
True.
Okay. And we could do it underwater. Woo! Yeah,
I heard of movies where a bunch of scuba divers, they find something and they bring it to the surface, and then it plays havoc with their lives. But I never heard it sort of a situation where you're underwater and there's running a risk of dying because of the item or because of being inside a place that you may not like.
New. It's called imagination. Okay.
Oh yeah, but it is amazing, Mike, that they have not. This hasn't been done before. It hasn't been done before. I mean, it's something that's that's different instead of just the usual haunted houses. I mean,
we found a relic, took it out, took it home, and we're haunted. No, yeah, that's the stuff you're trying to say. Yeah.
I'm just meaning that it's been a while, and I'm amazed that it's been a couple of years, and you would think this would have already been done. And considering we've already had movies like Jaws, we had movies about haunted houses like the Amityville houses.
Like Haunted. Where the guy went to the house there and the ghosts were there, but he was actually hanging around and there was nobody there and the house had been destroyed anyway.
Yeah. And of course we have the house on Haunted Hill, obviously.
Yeah.
But
and Elvira.
Yeah. Exactly. I knew you were bringing that up.
Well, I like that thing.
It is the first to see such taking two things, going underwater and taking haunted house and squishing together two different type of horror elements that could be scary. A nice
recipe for a nice, friendly little supernatural horror. How's that?
Yeah. So, anyway, you couldn't find anything about rating or rest?
Well, I can't find a lot. However, like I said before, I think it had a limited run at the box office, so I wouldn't say you can actually go by those figures too much.
Yeah.
However, review aggregator, Rotten Tomatoes, is the only reception critique I could find, holds approval rating of 74%. So that's not too bad. Those guys liked it. Now, and that's about the only one I can find.
That's a shame.
No, the point is that I think the main one... there might another one here.
Okay.
Bloody Disgusting. Megan Navarro gave it 3.5 stars out of 5.
Okay.
She wrote, the Deep House offers a slow, dark descent that builds to a satisfying conclusion.
Now that's
successfully
a good review.
Blending two subgenres that couldn't be further apart and executed with impressive ambition.
See, that's exactly what I was saying to you guys, a little bit differently, obviously.
Yeah. That daring ability to test the bounds of horror, at least on a technical level, is always welcome in the genre space, even if it's not a perfect success. But she's not saying anything nasty about it. She gave it a reasonably good write-up, but say it may not have been top of the pile, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, well, it is different, like she said. And it's taking two genres, like I said before, that's just making it a lot more interesting and probably might either spark the next generation of filmmakers to look outside the square more.
Yeah, exactly. Do something different,
Yeah.
I mean, you've had things where people go to amusement parks, they go into a mirror maze, and you get sucked into a mirror or something rather. Well, that's different.
Yeah.
You kill a clown from outer space. No. Well, but you got sci-fi and a harmless little circus, sort of, maybe. Yeah, two thingies blended together to make something weird, not just an alien which looks like an alien, like a dinosaur or a creature in a spacesuit. But no, you got these clown guys. Yeah. So you blend something to make something new.
Yeah. Anyway, now let's rate this now.
Well, despite everything, okay, I think for what it is, it tells a good story. Good filming, especially the underwater bits there. It wasn't too busy. It wasn't too slow. I think it had a good pace. Good filming. There's one or two places there where I couldn't see what was going on because it was supposed to be like that, agitated. Apart from that, I think the filming was good. The storyline was good. It was fresh. It was a good and new idea. Yeah. So having said that, everything on this one, I'm going to say 9.5. Only thing is because, like I said, things like chairs bouncing on one leg on a table would indicate I've screwed a chair there. It wasn't floating up around the ceiling. It wasn't lying on the floor.
Say, Mike, that the house was intact and stuff like that.
Look, if I flooded your house right now, a wooden bed would be floating around the ceiling, not laying on the floor. Okay, unless you had something heavy on it to keep it down there. Some things will float, some things will lay on the ground. Okay, okay. You go on the Titanic, light things will be floating up around the ceiling area. Now, apart from that, But when you got a chair sitting on one leg on a table, that wouldn't happen. And then little things like that. I mean,
It's a haunted house.
No. Well, if you came here and you saw that, say, hey, there's something wrong here, I'm leaving, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And that would be a thing to say, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, and that's why these people were there. They were like ghost adventures, going to haunted houses, blah, blah, blah.
Looking for a ghost, not saying, hey, come here, I'm a ghost. There's a bit of a difference. Yeah. Baiting you, and then you see some dead bodies hanging up in the other area. No, I would have been gone. I would have been, no. There would have been brown stuff coming out of my wetsuit. I would have been gone.
Anyway,
so
I'm going to rate it now, and I'm not going to do it like Mike here saying everything is wrong about this movie.
I didn't say it was wrong.
I did think it was different, and I liked the fact it's using two different things and making it more very dark and creepy and cool, and something that will probably bring a new light to haunted houses related movies. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 myself.
Well, that's it. There you go. Good.
So I do think it's a worth watch, guys.
No, it's a good watch. If you want something a bit different. Now, if you're looking for like a slasher movie type where there's lots of action, it ain't that sort of movie. It is a supernatural horror. Now, they're a bit more slow moving. They work more on atmos, development story, etc., and scare the crap out of you in its atmosphere and what's actually happening. So it's not busy. However, it's a good watch. So I am going to say right now, where do you get it? Well, I'm glad you asked, everybody. Now, eBay has plenty for sale. There's some used, and they want just as much as a new one, so you might just go and buy a new one. Amazon, it seems to only have it for rent. However, if those two guys have got it, like I've always say, your other suppliers, streaming sites, you probably find it somewhere else as well. So, it's available. Go and have a look. If you're not really sure about buying it, at least rent it and have a look at it. It's a good watch, and it's being different. Yes.
Yes, so you know where to find it, and you know our thoughts on it. So it's up to you guys now to actually sit down and watch the thing. So now that we've reviewed it, now it's up to you guys. So so that's about it from us guys on this channel. So you know where to find us again when we want to review any more movies and TV shows. So okay, guys. So we'll leave it at that. So I'll talk to you guys soon for our next episode. So this is Sarah Stephenson
and Michael
saying, see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye. Splash. No. What? No splash. Okay.
Bye.